Across the Middle East, a fragile peace shatters. Missiles, like incandescent ghosts, light up the night sky, tracing arcs of vengeance from one capital to another. In the bustling streets of Tel Aviv, the familiar sounds of life are drowned out. Air raid sirens scream a terrifying, all-too-familiar song. Miles away, in the fortified compounds of Tehran, generals and strategists vanish in blinding explosions, their plans turning to ash. The world, connected yet divided, watches the chaos unfold on countless screens. Headlines flash in a dizzying, relentless cycle. Israel strikes Iran. Iran retaliates. The entire Middle East is on edge. But this isn't the whole story. What if this war, the one everyone fears has just begun, didn't actually start this year, or even this decade? What if it's a conflict that has been raging for generations, fought not on battlefields, but in the shadows, in the fires of revolutions, through deniable assassinations, with the blood of proxy armies, and under the threat of nuclear shadows? Because the enmity between Israel and Iran is not an accident of history. It is a rivalry meticulously crafted by design. A grand, dangerous game for dominance. And behind every missile launched, every cyber attack, every covert operation, is a hidden war of intelligence and sabotage. A conflict few truly understand. This is the story of the war behind the headlines. Once, Israel and Iran were allies. Before 1979, the Shah secretly cooperated with Israel. Oil flowed, weapons were traded, intelligence agencies worked together. Then came revolution. Ayatollah Khomeini turned Iran into an Islamic republic and Israel into an enemy. A friendship died. A Cold War began. Iran no longer saw Israel as a country. It called it an occupation, a cause, a target. And Iran began building what would become the axis of resistance. Not one army, but many. Hezbollah, militias in Iraq, Hamas, Houthis, an empire through proxies. Israel answered not with declarations, but with shadows. Scientists killed, cyber warfare unleashed, nuclear facilities sabotaged, Stuxnet, covert strikes in Syria. A war fought where nobody officially admitted war existed, but everyone knew. One proxy changed everything. Hezbollah, built by Iran, armed for decades. Thousands of rockets aimed at Israel. Not just an ally, a deterrent, a warning, attack Iran, and face fire from every border. Then came the question haunting governments. Is Iran building a bomb? Israel says existential threat. Iran says peaceful program. Negotiations rise, collapse, sanctions tighten, and beneath diplomacy, war plans grow. Then the region changed. One attack, one response, and suddenly every front ignited. Lebanon, Gaza, Red Sea, Syria, Iraq. The proxy war was no longer hidden. It was visible, burning. For decades, Iran fought through proxies. Then came direct confrontation, drones, ballistic missiles. Hundreds launched in retaliation during 2024 escalations. The shadow war had crossed into open conflict. A line had been broken. Precision retaliation, deep strikes, message delivered. Distance no longer protects Tehran, and suddenly, two regional powers were testing each other directly, not through proxies, face to face. Generals, scientists, commanders, disappearing, bombed, poisoned, targeted. The war had rules once. Now even those rules were vanishing. What happens if Hormuz closes? Oil spikes, markets crash, global panic. A regional war becomes world shock, and suddenly, everyone has stakes. This isn't two players, it's a board. Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iraq. Every militia, a chess piece, and every move risks checkmate. Here's the twist. Both threaten escalation, neither fully wants it. Because total war could mean devastation neither can control. Sometimes the loudest enemies fear victory most. Not all attacks explode. Some shut down cities, hack power grids, blind radar, destroy infrastructure silently. The next strike may begin with code. Every strategist fears one question. What if miscalculation happens? One wrong signal, one false radar, one overreaction. History has ended nations for less. This isn't only Israel and Iran. The US, Russia, China, Gulf states, all watching, all calculating. Because regional war can redraw world order. Missiles fight one war. Narratives fight another. Every side claims defense. Every side claims legitimacy. And truth becomes another casualty. It's ideology, deterrence, power, survival, regional dominance. The headlines show missiles, but beneath them, a struggle for the Middle East itself. Then this stops being contained and becomes catastrophe, regional war, oil shock, global intervention, possibly worse, the nightmare scenario. Can a rivalry built over decades unwind? Or does history lock nations into conflict? Sometimes wars endure because peace feels impossible. And that may be the most dangerous weapon of all. The missiles may stop. For now, the headlines may move on, but the conflict remains. Waiting, watching, one spark away. Because the real war was never only on the battlefield. It was always behind the headlines. To truly understand the contours of this conflict, to grasp why it unfolds in bursts of violence followed by periods of tense quiet, you must look beyond the headlines. You have to understand how Iran thinks about war. It's a philosophy forged over decades of isolation, sanctions, and existential threats. A doctrine born not from a desire for conquest, but from a deep-seated imperative for survival. This isn't a strategy aimed at conventional victory, a triumphant march into an enemy's capital. It's a doctrine of endurance, a belief that victory is achieved not by winning a single decisive battle, but by refusing to lose the war. Its central pillar is attrition. The goal is to make any conflict so painful, so protracted, and so costly in blood and treasure, that the adversary eventually loses the political will to continue. This is executed through relentless, asymmetric pressure, finding the enemy's vulnerabilities, not on the main battlefield, but at the margins. Iran's leadership is acutely aware that it cannot match the world's major military powers plane for plane, ship for ship, or tank for tank. A direct, symmetrical war would be unwinnable. So faced with this overwhelming conventional disadvantage, it built another strategy entirely. A strategy of the weak against the strong. Missiles, thousands of them. A vast and diverse arsenal designed not just to strike, but to deter. To hold high-value targets at risk across the entire region, creating a powerful counter-threat. Proxies, an extensive network of allied militias and political groups across the Middle East. These forces act as a forward defense, allowing Iran to project power, challenge its rivals, and engage in conflict far from its own borders, all while maintaining a degree of deniability. Underground networks, sprawling, deeply buried facilities to protect its most critical assets, from missile launchers to command centers, from even the most powerful bunker-busting bombs. And drones, cheap, numerous, and increasingly sophisticated. They are the perfect tool for asymmetric warfare, capable of surveillance, harassment, and precision strikes without risking pilots or expensive aircraft. These elements combine to create layered defenses that disappear into the landscape, only to emerge and strike back when least expected. Supply lines are not concentrated, they are buried and distributed. Command nodes are not centralized, they are dispersed and mobile. And decoys are everywhere, designed to confuse enemy intelligence and waste expensive precision munitions on worthless targets. It is a doctrine built with one overarching purpose: to make a conventional invasion too costly to attempt and a long-term occupation impossible to sustain. At its very center lies a single powerful belief: survival through resistance. Bleed the attacker day after day, outlast the assault no matter how long it takes, and ultimately, win by denying the enemy the victory they seek. For decades, this strategic logic has shaped every major confrontation Iran has been involved in. From the volatile waters of the Persian Gulf to the fractured battlefields of the Levant, from the invisible realm of cyber grids to the world's most critical shipping lanes, the approach is always the same: calibrate pain, test red lines without decisively crossing them, and never, ever concentrate your forces where a single powerful blow can end the game. This is why the war can slow to a crawl, without ever truly stopping. It's why escalation often comes in calculated ripples, not overwhelming waves. And it is why, long after the headlines fade and the world's attention moves on, the pressure keeps grinding away, just beneath the surface. Inside Iran's doctrine, time itself is a weapon, patience is a form of artillery, and the real battlefield is everywhere you can't see. In the end, this deeply ingrained philosophy of strategic patience and asymmetric warfare may be the single most important factor in deciding how far this conflict can go, and, most critically, how long it can last. Perhaps the real question is not, will Israel and Iran fight a direct conventional war? The headlines fixate on this single, explosive possibility, a confrontation that has been decades in the making. But this focus, while understandable, might be obscuring a more profound transformation already underway. The more vital question is, what kind of region emerges from the crucible of this rivalry? Will we see more fragmentation? A landscape where old national identities fracture, giving way to a mosaic of hyper-modern, hyper-wealthy city-states walled off from the chaos. A future defined not by armies, but by autonomous weapons and digital fortresses, where swarms of cheap, deniable drones patrol the skies, and cyber walls are the new frontiers, policed by algorithms we can't see. Or does this pressure forge new alliances? Quiet understandings reached across old, bitter fault lines, driven by shared threats and pragmatic self-interest. A realignment where yesterday's enemies become today's reluctant partners. Is the outcome simply permanent instability? A state of neither war nor peace where conflict is managed, not resolved? A forever crisis fought through proxies, economic warfare, and surgical strikes? Or could the tension build to a point of an unexpected geopolitical reset? Because some conflicts are purely destructive, they shatter orders and leave only vacuums. But others are generative. They create new realities, new rules, new powers. And this long struggle between Tehran and its adversaries may be doing both at the same time. Watch the map pulse. The entire strategic board is in flux. Gulf monarchies, once firmly in the Western camp, are now hedging their bets, balancing delicate relationships with both Washington and Beijing. Energy and trade routes, the lifeblood of the global economy, are being rewritten by sanctions, sabotage, and piracy. The Red Sea crisis is a stark reminder that a regional conflict can hold the world's supply chains hostage. Diplomatic currents shift just as quickly. Normalization talks, once seen as inevitable, are freezing over, then thawing in secret. Every agreement becomes conditional, every partnership purely transactional, based on cold calculus rather than shared values. Into this landscape, new powers step. BRICS Plus extends invitations, offering an alternative to the old order. The US security umbrella, the region's defining feature for 50 years, appears to be thinning, forcing local actors to fend for themselves, only for Washington to surge forces back in when a new crisis erupts. China plays the role of mediator, securing its own interests. Russia acts as an opportunistic spoiler, selling arms and influence. Europe watches anxiously from the sidelines, worried about energy security and refugee flows, and a rising India carefully calculates its own path through the chaos. The very nature of power is changing. Airspace becomes algorithmic, a domain of competing AI systems. Ports become digital choke points guarded by software. Drones patrol critical infrastructure, from pipelines to power grids. In this new world, commercial satellites can arbitrate truth from orbit, exposing hidden military buildups. But at the same time, sophisticated deepfakes can erode that very truth, making it impossible to know what is real. The new grammar of conflict is written. Deterrence is maintained through the threat of hyper-precision strikes. Disruption is outsourced to deniable proxies. And de-escalation happens not in press conferences, but through secret back channels. From this complex interplay, three distinct futures seem to be branching out. The first is a cold peace, a tense but stable standoff where managed red lines are respected by all sides. A future where economics quietly triumphs over ideology, and deterrence holds not through grand gestures, but through the predictable routine of patrols and surveillance. The second is a fragmented archipelago, a descent into localized chaos where central states weaken and power devolves to militias, warlords, and micro-alliances. In this world, global shipping is taxed by constant threat, and the region settles into a state of constant low-burn conflict. And the third, a shock reset. The scenario where deterrence fails. A single miscalculation, an errant missile, a mistaken target, triggers a short, sharp, and scarring war. The devastation is immense, but from the ashes, a harder, more rigid architecture of restraint is born, forged in the memory of catastrophe. The future may not be waiting to be decided. It may already be taking shape in the shadows of this undeclared war. In the pregnant pauses between strikes, in the classified intelligence cables that no one reads, and in the clandestine meetings that no one films. If the doctrines of the past created the present, then the choices being made today, in secret and in public, will write the region that follows. And the next Middle East may arrive not with its borders redrawn on a map, but with its networks of power, technology, and allegiance completely rewired. If this documentary changed how you see this conflict, subscribe for more hidden histories and geopolitical deep dives. Comment below. Do you think this rivalry ends in diplomacy or wider war? Like, subscribe, and enter the dark files of history.